Nearly 40 million Americans at risk for severe weather this morning as storms move through. This massive suspected tornado striking at night. Concert goers run for safety from dangerous lightning strikes as other strikes set off field fires. Flash flooding warnings expanding. What's ahead for the work week?
Crash investigation. The NTSB looking into why a skydiving plane went down with 11 people on board. Was a previous crash involving that plane a factor here? Witnesses describing what they saw.
Starts to kind of decline.
As we learn more about the victims and the family who was supposed to be on board.
Cyber strike. ABC News confirming President Trump approved an attack aimed at disabling Iranian computer systems. His promise to the country.
We'll call it, let's make Iran great again.
Plus, President Trump's about face. What was behind his decision to delay those immigration raids?
Out of control, the hot air balloon coming in for a landing in the middle of a crowd. Spectators describing those terrifying moments.
And high drama. Last-minute preparations for Nick and Liana Walenda's daredevil stunt. 25 stories above Times Square. The challenges they face.
Last time I was up higher than that, my worst nightmare came true.
Can this brother-sister team make history tonight?
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
That makes my stomach drop just watching
Even the rehearsals are making me nervous.
I feel like I could think of a lot less stressful ways to spend a Sunday.
Yes. Well, good morning and happy Sunday to you. Let's take a live look right now at that wire that is hanging over Times Square. Tonight, Nick Walenda and his sister Liana will walk that very wire live right here on ABC.
And we'll have much more on tonight's primetime special coming up, but we're going to start here with the breaking weather news. A slow-moving storm system bringing severe weather to a huge swath of this country. 37 million Americans in the path, the danger zone stretching from Texas to Pennsylvania.
And take a look at this video of rescuers working to save a kayaker caught in a rushing river swollen from all the recent rainfall. Let's go straight to Rob, who's doing double duty in Times Square for us this morning, covering both the severe weather as well as tonight's high wire act. But Rob, let's go ahead and start with those dangerous storms. Good morning.
Good morning. We had finally some nice weather here in the Northeast, but much of the rest of the country is getting slammed. We've already had tornado warnings across Texas, Kansas, and Arkansas. Nearly 200 damaging severe weather reports just in the last 24 hours.
Large wedge tornado continues.
Overnight, severe storms tearing through the plains.
Wow, right from the lightning bolt.
This possible tornado on the move outside of Amarillo, Texas. Lightning illuminating the funnel. In Kansas, concert goers scrambling to safety as lightning strikes near the Country Stampede Festival. In northern Oklahoma, lightning igniting this fast-moving field fire. And in Ohio, rivers running high after excessive rainfall. Watch as first responders scramble to rescue this kayaker. Police warning residents to stay off the high water until it recedes. In the south, storms bringing strong winds that blew in the walls of this flea market just outside of Montgomery, Alabama. And this new video from Georgia showing the power of the severe weather. You can barely see the cars in this intersection as traffic lights sway in the wind during a strong thunderstorm.
Several reports of winds gusting to over 70 miles an hour. Even one report in Kansas of an 80-mile-per-hour gust with this slow-moving system. It's a cold core system. We showed you the snow yesterday in Colorado, and that's adding to some of the dynamics with this. And we have severe thunderstorm watches that are posted for the central part of the country right now until 10 o'clock this morning. And those flash flood watches up as well, even a number of flash flood warnings. These thunderstorms not only have the big wind, but a lot of rain, and they'll be training at times. You see with our future radar, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, eventually through Little Rock, back through Dallas by 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Look at that line of thunderstorms. That's heavy rain and potentially damaging wind in some of these more highly populated areas today. And we'll see some of this action slide a little bit farther towards the east tomorrow. Watch as this a couple of lines of thunderstorms in the warm sector, outflow boundaries, and then a cold front will squeeze everything tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening across Cincinnati and through Pittsburgh. Also areas that have already seen not just severe weather, but a whole lot of rain in the last couple of weeks. Back inside to you guys.
Busy weekend in the weather department. Thank you, Rob. And as we said, we'll be coming back to you soon for more on tonight's primetime special. But we are going to move on now to that horrifying story out of Hawaii and the sad news that the death toll there in the plane crash has now risen to 11. The skydiving plane went down shortly after takeoff, and ABC's Will Carr is in Oahu with the latest on the investigation, including new questions about the plane itself. Will, good morning to you.
And Dan, federal investigators are on their way to the scene right now to see what caused this plane crash that ended up hitting next to me and hitting this fence. At least 6 people on board worked for that skydiving company. They worked in this community, they lived in this community, and their loss has rocked this island. Overnight, the heart of a community shattered on Oahu's North Shore after 11 people died in this plane crash. That fateful skydiving flight at sunset ending in a ball of flames just after takeoff.
We see the plane, it kind of does a turnaround from the mountains right there. It's flying at a pretty low altitude. It starts to flip reverse as it starts to kind of decline, and then it kind of skimmed off those trees and then smashed down into the floor onto right up against that fence.
Some victims' own family members witnessed the terrifying crash, Hawaii's deadliest since 1981.
This is the most tragic aircraft incident that we had.
While the NTSB investigates the cause, the FAA tells us that the same plane almost crashed in 2016, experiencing serious damage during a skydiving flight. Plane's history now part of the investigation. Authorities have taped off the area. You can see there's not much left of the plane. The ground and the fence are charred, and you really get the sense of just how hot it was burning right after the crash. This morning, the victims remembered.
I just want them to know that they were all really, really good people.
Flight instructor Larry Lemaster's family posting a gut-wrenching message on Facebook. My intense pain and anguish is indescribable. My son has lost his father. Casey Williamson worked for Oahu Parachute Center as a videographer. Williamson's family tells us that he went to Hawaii to skydive and follow his adventurous heart. And our family will not be the same without our sweet Casey. The twin-engine Beechcraft was operated by the Oahu Parachute Center, which advertises the beauty of Hawaii at 14,000 feet at 120 miles per hour. Jay Thomasy and her mother were supposed to skydive on Friday, but decided to hold off at the last minute.
I have a pit in my stomach just thinking about what happened and everything.
The NTSB will be on the scene a little later today. They'll be looking into a number of factors, including the plane's history, if there was potential engine failure, or if there was too much weight on board since the plane crashed right after takeoff. Eva.
All right, Will, thank you. Another shooting overnight in South Bend, Indiana, home to presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg, who was already scheduled to hold a town hall meeting there this afternoon to discuss trust in police after a fatal police shooting that has heightened racial tensions. Overnight, police say shots broke out around 2 o'clock in the morning outside of Kelly's Pub. One person has been confirmed dead. They say multiple people have been showing up to the hospital with injuries, but police are unsure how many are related to that shooting.
Now to the tensions between the U.S. and Iran. A source telling ABC News President Trump approved a cyber strike on Iran as he decided against a military one. ABC's Rachel Scott is at the White House with the very latest. Rachel, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. Yes, we are learning that plan was in the works for weeks, if not months. The news comes as President Trump keeps military action on the table and announces additional sanctions against Iran set to begin tomorrow. This morning, ABC News confirming a report that President Trump gave the okay for that cyber strike on Iranian computer systems. The attack aimed at disabling software used to control rocket and missile launches. The president remaining optimistic about keeping nuclear weapons out of Iran's hands.
We're not going to have Iran have a nuclear weapon. And when they agree to that, they are going to have a wealthy country. They're going to be so happy, and I'm going to be their best friend. I hope that happens.
But overnight, President Trump applying more pressure, tweeting, quote, "We are putting major additional sanctions on Iran on Monday." The president also not ruling out military action, even though just days before, he made the last-minute decision to call off a strike in the region to avoid potential casualties.
Mr. President, are you still considering military action with Iran? Is it still on the table?
It's always on the table until we get this solved.
24 hours after Iran downed an unmanned U.S. drone, which the Iranian government says is shown in this video, the U.S. military was ready to strike back. But with minutes to spare, the president made a sudden reversal.
I don't want to kill 150 Iranians. I understand it. I don't want to kill 150 of anything or anybody unless it's absolutely necessary.
Sources say President Trump went against the advice of his own national security advisor, John Bolton.
I have John Bolton, who I would definitely say is a hawk, and I have other people that are on the other side of the equation, and ultimately I make the decision, so it doesn't matter.
And Rachel Scott back with us from the White House. Rachel, as we just heard, President Trump there calling his own national security advisor, John Bolton, a hawk. But this morning, Bolton made clear that Trump only stopped the strike from going forward at this time.
Exactly, Whit. A strong message from the president's national security advisor this morning. John Bolton saying, make no mistake about it, the U.S. still reserves the right to attack. He also says Iran shouldn't confuse the administration's discretion for weakness. Whit?
Rachel Scott at the White House for us. Thank you. Dan?
Thank you, Whit. Thank you, Rachel. Excellent content. According to the North Korean Central News Agency, that is what Kim Jong-un is saying of a letter he reportedly received from President Donald Trump. The agency releasing this picture of the North Korean leader reading that letter. Kim is quoted as saying he would seriously contemplate the interesting content. The White House has not confirmed that letter. Eva?
To the race for president now, and the Democratic presidential candidates very vocal overnight about President Trump's original announcement of massive ICE raids and his last-minute decision to postpone them. ABC's White House correspondent Tara Palmieri is in South Carolina, where most of the 2020 hopefuls are courting votes this weekend. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning, Eva. Those candidates, they played nice with each other this weekend, even as they tried to stand out from a crowd of more than 20. Instead, they saved their attacks for President Trump.
We'll make it to the mountaintop.
On the campaign trail, 2020 Democratic candidates fired up after President Donald Trump delayed mass raids across the country, set to take place this morning. All part of a plan to deport more than 2,000 undocumented immigrants in as many as 10 cities.
Everybody that came into the country illegally will be brought out of the country very legally.
At the Democratic convention in South Carolina, where candidates have been focused on African-American voters, Congressman Eric Swalwell launching this attack on the president.
For many Latino families, there is nothing this president will not do to break up your family.
Others saying it's just a political stunt.
Do people see a pattern here? He said over Twitter that he called off a strike on Iran 10 minutes before it was supposed to happen. He said today that at the last minute, he called off ICE raids across the country.
This is another example of the president's successful attempts to distract us from what's really happening in this country under his watch.
Senator Bernie Sanders briefly praising the president for calling off the raids.
Glad that Trump made this decision, but that's not good enough. What we need to do is move toward real immigration reform.
Meanwhile, Mayor Pete Buttigieg back in South Carolina after pausing his campaign to address the community crisis in South Bend. A fatal shooting of a black man by a white police officer.
What do we want? Justice!
Protesters demanding answers.
Did you just ask me if Black Lives Matter?
Yes, we want to hear you say it!
Of course, Black Lives Matter.
Now fire your cops!
But Buttigieg says he's not worried about the message it sends to black voters.
Mayor Pete,
Hi.
Are you worried about how the protests at home are playing in South Carolina, especially among African-American voters?
You know, it's not really something to think about in terms of politics. It's something we think about in terms of community. I'm extremely concerned about the anguish that our community is feeling, and we'll continue to work through it together. But I also think that we can take an extremely difficult moment and show the best of our community and how we respond to it.
Mayor Pete is back off the campaign trail today. He's heading home to South Bend to hold a town hall with members of his own community as they deal with this crisis. Dan?
And then another shooting overnight. A lot going on with Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Tara, thank you very much. A lot to talk about here this morning, so let's bring in our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, who's in Washington, D.C., where she'll be hosting This Week later this morning. Martha, good morning to you. I think the big news in the Democratic race this week is likely to be the first televised debates, which they're going to hold over 2 nights because there are so many candidates. You know very well what a crowded debate stage is like. Back in 2016, you and ABC's David Muir moderated a large group of Republicans, including then candidate Donald Trump. For the Democrats, when you have all these candidates up there, how can anybody stand out?
Well, I think the one thing they have to do is remember why they want to be president of the United States. Stick to their message. Stick to why they think they're better than any other candidate, and say that again and again. On the other hand, you don't want to get too married to your talking points. I remember Marco Rubio making talking points over and over again to the point Chris Christie interjected, and Chris Christie really ruled that debate because he pointed out that Marco Rubio was saying the same thing over and over again. So there are always these moments in debates. There's always something. But I really do think you, just as a candidate, have to remember why you're there, why you want to be president, and you'll stand out in that way.
It's going to be tough. So let's loop back to Iran. Speaking of tough, President Trump is simultaneously extending an olive branch. We saw him talking about making Iran great again, while also announcing these new sanctions overnight. But Iran has shown no appetite for talking. So where do we go from here?
Well, you know he's going to put on stronger sanctions. I think we don't know, Dan, where it goes from here. This crisis is far from over. The immediate crisis was over. There was no military strike. But what if something else happens? And I know we say this again and again, but the big danger is miscalculation. Something goes wrong. Somebody does take a rogue shot at something. And then what does President Trump do? Does he once again say, I'm not going to do a military strike? We lost a $130 million drone. The president clearly concerned about civilian casualties. This cyber attack, does that do it? This offensive cyber attack against Iran that the president authorized? But I think at this point, we just don't know what's going to happen.
As you said, so much room for miscalculation, and the stakes are incredibly high. Martha, thank you very much. I want to remind everybody, Martha's got a big show this morning. She's going to go one-on-one with presidential candidate Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, plus former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Admiral Mike Mullen, discussing the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran. That's all coming up on This Week later this morning right here on ABC. Whit, over to you.
Dan, thank you. A dramatic rescue in St. Louis as an officer saves a toddler from her burning home. Take a look. Hazelwood police officer Rodriguez can be seen kicking in a basement window after he says he heard cries for help. Flames shooting out of the house as Officer Rodriguez reaches in, pulling out a 3-year-old girl, taking her to safety. Then he reaches back in and with the help of a neighbor is able to pull out the little girl's grandmother, who is also trapped. The girl and her grandmother are said to be fine. Everything inside the house was destroyed.
Goodness. Well, time now for a check of the weather. Let's go back to Rob in Times Square. Good morning to you, Rob.
Hi, good morning again, Eva. Again, we're here to talk about weather and also about the high wire act that's going to happen here later on tonight. I can't even imagine what the Willendas are going to feel like as they do the big stunt. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But first, a bit of a stunt. Yesterday, you saw the first full day of summer. We were getting puked on with heavy snow in Breckenridge, Colorado. This is what the snow stake looked like earlier in Steamboat Springs. They're shut down for skiing, but look at that, over a foot of fresh powder there. A Basin was open yesterday. I'm sure folks were loving that, cutting some fresh turns. And the cold core is still there, so winter weather advisories remain up for that areas, including the Front Range and Summit County, including Breckenridge and Aspen. 2 to 6 inches of additional snowfall there, maybe a little bit more in Cheyenne or just to the west there in Wyoming. So look at how the temperatures are going to swing from Denver today in the mid to upper 50s, getting into the mid 80s by Wednesday. Salt Lake 70s, getting to 90 by Tuesday. So there you see the dramatic warm up. Kansas City will get up into the 90s as well Tuesday, Wednesday. So winter will end at some point. All right, it's time now for a look at your local weather forecast, Jake.
Hello, meteorologist Alex Liggett here on a beautiful Sunday. Expect a lot of sunshine, low humidity. Not real typical of summer here. Temperatures reaching the mid-80s by the afternoon and evening hours. Lows tonight back into the 60s, so not quite as cool as this morning. We'll have that touch of mugginess in the air tomorrow and the chance for a couple of storms in the forecast. Highs in the upper 80s. Afternoon storms most likely back near 90 degrees on Tuesday and Wednesday, along with that humidity.
High above the crossroads of the world, 25 stories up. That's where they're going to be walking. The brother-sister act will cross paths later on tonight as millions watch here and around the world. Will these blue skies hold? Will the winds be calm? We'll talk more about the forecast in the next half hour.
Rob, speaking
Dan
of
Harris,